What if I told you the story you're telling yourself about the world is mostly wrong? Here's an example. The Mets are playing the Phillies. The Phillies beat them 20-0. They blew them out. That night, when you listen to the Mets announcers, you're going to hear, the Mets stunk today. They're awful. They're bums. They're losers. They can't hit. They can't pitch. And when you tune into the Phillies, what are you going to hear? The Phillies were amazing today. Best game of the year. They can hit. They can pitch. They can do anything. Amazing. What is the problem? The problem is both stories can't be true. Both recollections of the game can't be accurate. Think about it like this. If the Mets were that bad, then the Phillies can't be that good. If you're going to crush a team that's that bad, that can't hit, that can't pitch, then how good can you be? And if you're facing a team that's that great, well, you probably weren't that bad anyways. It's usually a mixture of factors of what causes a team to win, to lose. You know, I see this all the time in sports when it comes to managers. They try to evaluate managers and they go by wins and loss records, as if players don't matter. You know, what if you're a lousy manager, but you're on a good team? What if you're a bad manager and you're on a good team? I used to always talk to my father and I used to say, I think Phil Jackson is the greatest coach in basketball history. And he used to tell me, I don't really think so. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, he had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant. The exact same habit happens in politics. When a candidate wins an election, a general election, you always hear, oh, the candidate was great. He knew exactly what he was doing. The campaign manager knew exactly what they're doing. But at the same time, there are so many factors. What if another party was in power for very long and people want to change? What if there was an economic downturn? What if there's COVID? What if there's so many different factors when it comes to winning and losing elections? You don't really know what causes it. Yes, there are certain things that we can have an idea about, not that we are completely blind, but we don't know all of the factors when it comes to what happens in this world. So what do I think that's going on here? Well, I think we have a built-in mechanism. Our subconscious wants to feel like we know the world, that we know what's going on. Because imagine getting out of bed and thinking, you know, if I take a next step, I may fall through the floor. You want to have a feeling that you know the world, that you know what's going on. But this mechanism, while it helps us, can definitely backfire because it can oversimplify the world. Things in the world are a lot more complex than they appear. There are so many things that are going on, so many multi-layered things and situations that one simple narrative cannot explain. What that's telling you is that you need to have humility. You have to kind of realize that you may not know everything. There's a lot of things that you don't actually know. So I would encourage you to pause a little bit, to not be so certain about everything before you form an opinion. Ask yourself, are you missing something? Is there something that you may not be seeing? Because by doing that, you gain a deeper perspective and you avoid making decisions based on an oversimplified view of reality.